This is Jamie Drummond for Good Food Revolution. I am here with South African winemaker Bruce Jack. And you are joining us from where exactly in South Africa, Bruce?
Jamie, I'm in an area called the Overberg Highlands. We are a 2-hour drive east of Cape Town. We have a Mediterranean climate, described such, slightly Eurocentric perspective, but it means that we get rain and it's cold in winter and nice warm summers. So ideal for growing grapes. And we farm on a mountain 500 meters above sea level, very high up altitude wise, but very close to the sea. So only about 45 kilometers from the sea, near a little village called Napier.
All right, okay, I know where you are now. So you are currently under probably one of the most severe lockdowns in the world right now. How is that working out for you?
Okay, so it's very interesting. I think the World Health Organization has lauded the way that the South African government has locked down. I mean, we're a third world country, right? We're a developing country. We don't have the hospital facilities to handle the sort of outbreak that we've seen in places like Italy.
Yes.
We wouldn't be able to, we just wouldn't have the beds. We don't have the ventilators. So I think we closed down very hard, very early. It's fascinating. The country is economically on its knees anyway. We had a previous regime who, unfortunately, huge corruption, graft took place. About a trillion, so probably let's think about $100 billion was taken out of the economy. So we really don't have any fiscal flexibility. And that's really where the problem comes in. So with the hard lockdown, we've seen huge spike in unemployment. And unfortunately, unlike Canada, which is organized, or the UK, and to a certain extent the US, we haven't had the financial wherewithal within our own means to support those people who've lost their jobs. So there are a lot of people going hungry. As we all know, I think it was a famous saying once, there are 9 meals between starvation and civil unrest. So it's fairly tenuous here as a result. People are very, very hungry.
Now, for the last 15 years, you have been part of an organization, a charitable organization called Headstart. I was intrigued to hear how you have aligned Headstart with the current problems that are ongoing within South Africa because of this lockdown.
Yeah, so the Headstart Trust was originally set up to provide music education opportunities to the poor and rural areas of South Africa. We focus on our area specifically, and we employ music teachers. We buy music instruments. We believe that music is one of the positive myth builders, the positive reinforcing agents that we can use to undo a lot of the historical damage of the past, including slavery and colonialism and apartheid, obviously.
Yeah.
And we lobby government to include music in the syllabus of pre-primary and primary school kids, and to make it available in all schools, as well as actually doing it ourselves. We also do, we're not just interested in education. We've always been interested in food security. So we have built and developed a organic vegetable garden within school premises, taught kids how to farm, and utilized that opportunity to engage with their parents and the community at large. We work through churches and mosques, and in some cases temples, Hindu temples. So we're trying to work through organizations that are already in place and to offer extra things. So when the lockdown happened and we saw a lot of seasonal workers and a lot of people who really live week to week and who don't have access to any kind of government grant or support, suddenly lost their jobs. Within 2 or 3 weeks, they had no money. They had no money for food. They had no money for electricity or for gas. So we repurposed, in a way, in the short term, the Headstart Trust to focus on being the bridge between the haves and the have-nots. So this is either the haves in the metropolitan areas, our customers, our wine customers in Cape Town or Johannesburg, and the have-nots in the rural areas. So we are raising donations, and then we are either going ahead and buying food or buying vouchers or putting systems in place that allows us to get food to the most needy. And that is a combination of food parcels and soup kitchens. We currently support 8 different soup kitchens around our area. And we're probably feeding currently on a daily basis somewhere in the region of 5,000 or 6,000 people a day.
Wow.
7 days ago, we received the first phone call from the Headstart Trust in the Napier district. They asked us that afternoon if they can become part of our project and if we need any help. The afternoon, the first truckload of food arrived, and since then it hasn't stopped. Daily contributions in the form of truckloads of fruit, food, protein, bread, and cash donations made its way to our kitchen in Bredasdorp. That has put us in a position to sustainably keep our project at more than 3,000 meals daily just in Bredasdorp. The excess of the contributions get shared with the Struisbaai community, Napier and Arniston. Wherever you are as a donor to the Headstart Trust, I would like to thank you today. Your donations made its way from wherever in the world down to the Headstart Trust and all the way down to the Cape Agulhas community at the southernmost tip of Africa. And I can promise you it's making the world's difference down here. Thank you for choosing us as one of your partners.
At the moment, we are from this soup kitchen. We are producing 600 liters now. Distribution points is in Bredasdorp at 8 different locations. So we'll basically have in the next half an hour, we'll have all the people that's responsible for all the different distribution points that will arrive. We'll give them their fruit that comes out of the refrigeration areas. The soup we distribute in buckets, seal it, nice, sanitize it, ready to go. They'll collect, they'll go out with fresh bread as well, and then serve. We are helping out in Elim, Napier, Bredasdorp, Struisbaai, and we're getting online with Arniston now as well. In those towns, we've got places like Black Oyster Wedding Venue helping out. We've got some community members and some farm members, and then you guys as well from Bruce side that's supporting that side. And then we've got Arniston and Bredasdorp. We've got the Air Force Base involved as well. Those restaurants and soup kitchens we supply from our side. So what we've decided to do is get a central distribution point. We've got the facilities here, we've got refrigeration and delivery areas. We get it, we sort it. Some of the goods is obviously not market ready anymore. It needs to go into food production, so we can handle it here. We process it, we pack it, we freeze it, and then we get it out to the distribution point.
Awesome. And the stories, I mean, no one's being paid?
There's no pay involved. I've got some casual workers with me. We're a catering business.
So how are you paying for the electricity?
Electricity and gas we're getting out of donations, and from your fund is covering that for us a lot, and that we're very grateful about that.
Okay.
The expensive part of the whole process is the electricity, the gas.
Yeah.
And then the boys and everybody helping out. It's love. We're all helping out. We're giving our time. Everybody's getting food. The big thing with the initiative was there's a whole lot of people in our town, casual workers, temporary workers that was not liable for any grants, no help from the state,
yeah,
but they stranded in our town,
yeah,
and we need to feed these people.
Yeah.
So the community came together, initiatives like yourself, Black Oyster, the Air Force, we all got together and we're making it happen.
Excellent. And Tony, strength to your arm.
That's good.
God bless you and keep going.
Fantastic. Thank you for your support.
So tell us what you've brought for us today.
We brought some bread, we got potatoes, we got carrots, we got rice, we got quick cook samp, we got soup mix, we got fatties and monies, macaroni, we got salt, we got, what is this now? Corn flour, we got this Nordox chicken flavor for the soup,
Excellent.
and we got some brown onion at the bottom.
And how many loaves of bread?
It's 400 loaves of bread.
Fantastic. From which bakery?
Quick bake bakery.
Quick Bake. Yeah. Care of Group 35. Thank you very much, Group 35, Scott and Anya. You guys are stars. Thanks for bringing it. Okay, Marwan, let's go deliver, buddy.
And have you seen your customers, your wine customers, buying into this whole idea and really helping out?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not, and what's been of fundamental, heartwarming value to us is to see how many people overseas who have always supported our brands and our business have actually generously donated towards the Headstart Trust.
Right.
You guys are amazing. There's something very special about Canadians, very special about your country. And the donations that we've received from Canada have been fantastic. And I really, can only thank you for spreading the news. This is it's a humanitarian disaster that we're facing over a very short period of time. And the whole opportunity that we've got here is a positive one, in that there is an opportunity here to re-galvanize communities around civil society and really ignore on purpose politicians and the infrastructure that has been built up. Because when it comes to people starving, it's not about color or creed or who you voted for. It's not about your religion. It's about looking after your fellow human being.
Well, it's very admirable of you to put this trust to such essential use during this very difficult time. With your knowledge of everything that's going on, how long do you feel the lockdown will last within your country right now? What have your politicians been saying?
So, unfortunately, what's happened within the realm of politics is that, I don't think any politicians around the world, we've seen this in the United States as well, with their rather haphazard and uncoordinated approach, where politics has sort of played an ugly role.
Yeah.
And I think it's what this has done is it has opened people's eyes to the fact that civil society is really the glue, and the actors in politics are great when things are going well, but unfortunately when there's a crisis, you really do need leaders. You don't need actors. In the South African situation, it's no different from anywhere else in the world. There is a lot of politics at stake. And the people in charge are overwhelmed by the responsibility. There are some good people in politics in South Africa, as there are anywhere in the world, some true leaders. And then, of course, there are all the actors. And that has undermined the process. So there is a bit of a power struggle taking place in the South African government. Our current president is a guy called Cyril Ramaphosa, who I think has the ear of the country. He's well respected generally, but within his small group, there are people who support the previous president, Jacob Zuma. He hasn't been able to get rid of the way our constitution is organized. Means that there is a faction that is still pro-corruption and pro-selfishness and greed, and then there's this faction that's really trying to take South Africa forward with true leadership. And that sort of weird political sideshows is unfortunately taking up a lot of energy and focus.
I was quite surprised when we spoke previously, when you mentioned that all sales and transport of alcohol has been prohibited right now, and that includes export of South African wine. That must be impacting the business in such a drastic manner.
Jamie, it's surreal. I think there's some strange decisions made in every country. So I wouldn't want to pick out South Africa and particularly say that that there's an imbalance in the way that the South African government under Cyril's leadership has been able to handle the overall picture, the general picture. I think he's done very well, and he's been able to control things from that perspective. Because of this factionalism, which of course happens in every government, we are seeing some rather odd things. And one of the things that has happened is we were until tomorrow we're allowed to export again, but we were the only wine producing country in the world that was not allowed to export. Now we're the single biggest employer of people in the Western Cape of South Africa. So directly about 180,000 people, and indirectly somewhere up to 600,000 people are employed and make their livelihoods from the wine industry. That has been stripped away. And of course, the amount of revenue that it brings in from exports is really what we need as our currency is starting to tank. Right. So it made absolutely no sense. And you would be able to export wine without the integrity of the lockdown being broken. So that is what I sort of describe as a low-hanging opportunistic fruit that we could export, we could get this foreign income, and unfortunately it wasn't being allowed. Look, a sense has prevailed. There are a lot of us who've been involved at all sorts of levels with talking to government and trying to explain that the economic argument is not in opposition to the medical argument. Right. So as of tomorrow, we are allowed to export again. Unfortunately, there's only limited manufacturing, which means that there's only limited bottling facilities. Wow. So we're very, very fortunate in that we've got a fairly large export brand, probably one of the fastest, if not the fastest growing export brand from South Africa. Sorry. This happened last time, Jamie, because my big dog really has a problem with porcupines. Okay. And this is the time that the porcupines come out, and they eat all the irrigation. Oh wow! Pipes.
Well, thank you very much for joining us at Good Food Revolution today. Sorry about the technical issues, and we hope to catch up with you over a glass of wine sometime soon, Bruce.
Cheers. Sorry about the glitchiness.
That's all right. Bye for now. Bye-bye.